Hi, my name is Carolyn Levine, and I'm one of the counselors at Yale School Cherry Hill. I'm going to be talking with you today about our social thinking program at Yale School, which includes our skill development classes, our social skills clubs, and then also our policies on bullying and teaching students about bullying and our harassment, intimidation, and bullying procedures. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to share a PowerPoint with you. So if you give me just a moment, I'll pull that up. Okay, there we go. So I want to start by just making sure that you have the information of the counselors that work at Yale School Cherry Hill. We have 4 counselors on our campus, and each of our counselors works with certain classrooms. So looking on this slide, if you look for your child's classroom number, you can then see which counselor works with that classroom, and you'll have that counselor's email address right there. Should you have any questions at any point, please feel free to email us, and we will do our best to answer your questions and get back to you as soon as we can. So, as I mentioned, we are a social thinking and social learning campus. And to that end, we have classes that all of the counselors teach. Those are skill development classes, and we teach those once a week in each of the homerooms. And we also have social skills clubs. And both of those, both the classes and the clubs, address 2 main goals. The first one is to help the students to improve their ability to regulate their emotions. And the second one is to help students improve their interpersonal communication. And we're going to talk just a little bit about how we do that. There are lots of different classes that we teach regarding this throughout the school year, but we're going to go into just a few general ideas that we do teach. So in our skill development classes, we use the social thinking curriculum by Michelle Garcia Winner. And the social thinking curriculum will help our students to improve their perspective taking, which is basically thinking about how other people are thinking, right? And then also to understand how our behavior impacts the feelings of those around us, right? So the way that we behave and our social skills can affect how others feel about us, and does affect how others feel about us. And that, in turn, impacts how we are treated and how we feel about others, and ultimately how we feel about ourselves. So, especially for our younger students, that's a little bit of a complicated idea, but we teach it in stages. And certainly for our high school students, that becomes more important as they start thinking about their own relationships with peers a little bit more. So I want to give you some examples of the social thinking concepts that we teach. For our younger students, we teach something that's called whole body listening. And we talk to them about, instead of just listening with our ears, our entire bodies get involved in the listening process. We talk about having quiet hands and feet. We talk about turning our face and our eyes toward the speaker. We talk about having brains that are thinking about what's being said, right? And we talk about having hearts that are caring about what other people are saying. And that's something that when we have students move to the high school, we talk about, being present with the group and hanging with the group. Whole body listening is important throughout the years, but we kind of change the language that we use as our students get older. We also talk a lot about expected behaviors and unexpected behaviors. So if you hear your student ever use these words, this is what they mean. Expected behaviors are behaviors that cause others to have good thoughts and good feelings about us, while unexpected behaviors cause others to have those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. And as we talked about before, that can affect how students treat us, and that can play into how we feel about ourselves. We do a lot of work with our students on cognitive flexibility, being able to be a flexible thinker, right? So, we discuss a lot thinking about what we can do if our plan A doesn't work out, right? And we also talk about flexible thinking versus stuck thinking, right? And how when we are a flexible thinker, others have good thoughts about us. But if we get stuck in our thinking and we say things have to happen a certain way, that can make other people uncomfortable. So we work on strategies to become a flexible thinker. We work on reminding students to follow the group's plan, right, instead of their own plan. And that's a very important skill for not only for school, but also for when our students go out into the community, and for them to be aware of what seems to be the general plan and for following that plan. In terms of emotional regulation, we teach something called the zones of regulation, where we have different zones that are color coordinated, and they correspond to how much energy we have in our body, all the way from the blue zone, from when we don't have enough energy in our body, feeling tired or bored, all the way up to the red zone, where we have way too much energy in our body. That's if we're feeling very angry, if we're showing behavior of yelling or hitting, or we're feeling out of control. And we encourage students to learn strategies to get themselves back to the green zone. The green zone is a really comfortable amount of energy in your body. And it's important to be in the green zone or get back to the green zone when you're in school, because when you're in the green zone, you're focused and ready to learn. One of the things that we use to help students to get to the point of regulating their emotions is to think about how big their problem really is. A lot of times when something goes not the way that a student is expecting, they automatically think that because there's a problem, it's automatically a huge problem. Either things are fine or they're really, really not fine. So we teach students how to figure out what size their problem really is, and that if there's a small problem, we can handle that in a way that matches the size of the problem. So, if there's a small problem, we maybe just, do a little sigh, and then we get to fixing the problem, right? If there's a medium problem, it's possible we might need some adult help to fix that problem, so we can ask an adult for help. And really only if there's an emergency do we expect students to, have a whole lot of energy in their body and to, do something immediate to keep everybody safe. So we go over the size of the problem throughout the course of the year as problems arise in our students' lives. Okay, so I'm going to move on to talking about social skills clubs, which we have during the school day. We have students that come from many different school districts, so we cannot have clubs after school. But for social skills clubs, we encourage our students, we offer a variety of clubs, and we encourage our students to pick a club of interest and work with the other students toward a common goal. For example, in a Lego club, the students might work on building a structure. They're part of a structure that can then be put into a bigger structure. In a theater club, they might work on putting on a play together or reading through a script together. Those are all common goals that students can work together on. And when we observe our students in clubs and we help them, we try to help them improve in these areas. First of all, in participating in clubs, because we have some students that would very much rather work by themselves. So encouraging them and giving them the skills to work together with others. And after we get them participating, we guide them along to improve their group skills, being able to resolve conflicts and maintain a positive attitude, and again, follow the group plan instead of their own plan, flexibility certainly works into that. And also, having some responsibility for their part in the group plan and looking at problem solving as well. There we go. The final thing that I wanted to address tonight is that we do have two specialists in our school that specialize in handling any situation that could arise that falls under the umbrella of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. We call that HIB. So we have two HIB specialists. They are names that are familiar, hopefully, from a slide that you saw above. We have Nicole Galt and Nia Hinton. And this slide gives you some information about what bullying is and what bullying is not. And one of the things that we teach our students is what the difference is between bullying and conflict. If a conflict happens, we have, two people who are disagreeing, right? But when bullying happens, bullying is one-sided, and the bully is hurting somebody's body or feelings on purpose. So it certainly is very serious. And if somebody suspects bullying, or if there is a case where bullying is seen, we have a bullying sheet that is filled out, and the incident is investigated by our specialists at the school. So every instance of perceived bullying, even if it ends up not being a bullying incident, if somebody perceives that they've been bullied or thinks that somebody else might have been bullied, they can fill out that sheet, and the bullying specialists will go around. They will talk to the parties involved, and they will determine whether bullying happened. And if bullying did happen, the person that was doing the bullying gets some consequences. So there are a few different types of bullying. We have verbal bullying, physical bullying, and then psychological bullying and electronic, where, better known as cyberbullying. Any of these things can and should be reported. We encourage students to do that reporting. We also talk with the students about, if they witness bullying, what they can do to be an upstander and to speak out about it. If they feel comfortable addressing the situation, they can do that, but also they can always go get an adult. And, we encourage that as well, because we do take bullying very seriously in our school. Okay, so that ends our presentation. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to go back up to our slide giving out our information. Please feel free to contact any one of us. We would be happy to talk with you, answer any questions or concerns that you might have. Thank you, and I hope you have a good evening.